Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and well, we're continuing the franchise because why not? The Karate Kid Part 3 is a 1989 film that was directed once again. Who knew that the same guy directed all three Karate Kid movies? John G. Avildsen. And the plot. The plot is we see Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRussa. We see Mr. Miyagi. They're coming back from their trip from Okinawa. And like immediately right after, it's the tournament. It's the following year's tournament for the same karate championship that Daniel-san won in the first movie. And so he wants to defend his title. Miyagi isn't so keen on the idea, doesn't really think that Daniel needs to do it. He doesn't need to prove himself, and he doesn't need to get himself hurt. But of course, Daniel-san wants to do it on his own, and he's willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means taking training lessons from a guy that he shouldn't be talking to from Cobra Kai. Not John Kreese, but somebody almost as bad. Now, what I thought of the Karate Kid Part 3 was... I kind of liked the movie. I did. Look, I guess I'm just fully expecting to hit one of these Karate Kid sequels and to think, oh man, that one sucked. It's gone downhill completely since the first film. And admittedly, none of these sequels have been as good as that first film. That first film is all the way up here. But I will say that these two sequels aren't that far behind. And I guess in a lot of ways it's more of a pleasant surprise than anything else. I do like that the story picks up, both sequels pick up immediately from when the last movie left off. You see, like I said, Daniel and Miyagi coming right from the airport after their trip in Japan. Surprisingly, everyone, you could buy that as far as, even though it's been in real time 5 years, I like that they've manipulated everything to make it seem like it's all congruent, it's all happening one after another. You can tell that Ralph Macchio is a tiny bit older and he packed on a couple more pounds. I'm not throwing stones, trust me, but still, it's the only thing really that made me think, okay, it's obviously not actually directly right after. It sucks that you get a moment where Daniel's mother, which it's glad to see that he still has a mother that cares about him or checks in on him, she has to leave to go with the uncle who's sick, and so Daniel-san starts to live with Mr. Miyagi. And there's a moment where the mother asked him about Kumiko, and if they're still together, and Daniel said no, she had to stay in Japan for a job, and I guess they broke up. Why couldn't they have done this with Allie, with an I? Why couldn't they have just done what I said as far as having her stay in the States while Daniel goes to Japan, and it's all fine and well? And then in the third movie, if you still couldn't get Elizabeth Shue to come back, then just have the moment where he tells the mom that they broke up because maybe she went off to college. And he's not doing that, right? He wants to open up his own school with Miyagi, name it after Miyagi, and have this whole thing. So you could have done it. You could have still maneuvered it without making Allie with an I look like that. I still am pretty upset about it. But, like I said, Daniel does not decide to go to college. Maybe he couldn't tell his mom that because his mom probably wouldn't have approved of him not going to college right here, right now. Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita, is still one of the best things about the movie, just as far as being that sensei, that presence, that figure that, like, even Daniel talks him up to be. The guy who knows all. The guy that can answer any question. The guy that can guide you through anything. He exhibits that, exudes that as well as he has to, as well as he needs to. Martin Kove plays John Kreese. It was interesting to see how him at the beginning and how low he sank after Cobra Kai lost the tournament at the end of the first movie, and how he's just done for. He hasn't had a student in months. He's just so depressed. He wants to just take off. And that's where we get introduced to Terry Silver, played by Thomas Ian Griffith. And this guy somehow is more obnoxious, more annoying, more of a scumbag, and maybe even more evil, if you can believe that, than John Kreese, because when Kreese comes to him with his dilemma, with his situation, Silver immediately is like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of this Daniel kid. I'm going to ruin his life. I'm going to tear his life apart, and then we'll beat him for that championship. And so it's a messed up plan. Even the moment where Terry goes to Miyagi and Daniel and says, oh yeah, John Kreese is dead. He died of a broken heart. What? That's pretty goddamn extreme, don't you think? Obviously, Miyagi, since he doesn't want Daniel to do this tournament, he's not willing to train him when Daniel decides to do it, and that creates conflict. I felt really bad for Miyagi the couple times where Daniel was getting in his face and talking back to him and being kind of a dick, especially because of how much it was affecting Miyagi. I said, God damn, Daniel-san, you're breaking not only his heart, but mine, to see you do it. At first, he did not want to do the tournament. He was going to take Miyagi's wishes, but there's a new guy in town, one that Cobra Kai is now backing, Mike Barnes, played by Sean Kanan, and he looked like the real deal, I'll admit that. He certainly had that look in his eye, that killer look in his eye. He definitely seemed like a guy who, if put in the situation, if put in front of Daniel, he would kill him. He would get the job done. More of a physical threat as far as what he pulled off, even more so than Johnny in the first film. So I would give him that. He looked like a killer. He looked like somebody that meant no good. But another new character, since the girls in Daniel's life have been gone, we get introduced to Jessica Andrews, played by Robin Lively. And at first, when Daniel first meets Jessica, and they already create a date between them, like first time meeting, and then they have a date, I thought to myself, wow. So not only are we just going to bring in a new girl to be his girlfriend, but it was that easy for him to get the date. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Sure, fine. Sometimes, yeah, there are girls who are that straightforward and do make the advance, and you go, oh, wow, that was easy. But I just felt like it wasn't a good look to have Daniel have a new girlfriend each and every single film. And then, on the night of the date, she tells Daniel, look, I have a boyfriend back at home. We had issues, but we're going to try to make it work now. So can we be just friends? And Daniel says, sure, fine. No harm, no foul. Let's just be friends. And for the rest of the movie, they're just that. They're just friends. There's no kissing. There's moments where you can tell that they probably do have some attraction, but it doesn't go any further than that. And I was shocked by this, by the maturity of both characters, how this didn't become a huge conflict and a huge thing. You must have had some producer come in and say, look, we can't have Daniel have a new girl every movie. It doesn't look good, and fans probably don't want to see that. So, because they're probably pissed over the absence of Allie, we can't repeat that to poor Jessica. So let's have her just be the friend, and it works. It works. It was definitely the right way to go. And I thought the actress was fine. The moment where she takes him rock climbing because he seems to be so obsessed with this Japanese tree that Miyagi planted. Overall, I enjoyed the film. The movie is a little batshit, is a little wonky with Terry and his plan and the way how he's manipulating Daniel and just all of that going on. It's silly. It's every time that Terry does something underhanded, you just see the sinister smirk on his face. He can't help himself but just giggle to himself. It's silly. It is. That villain is even more of a cartoony villain than Chris was. But once again, I was not bored. I was not rolling my eyes. I was not angry at any point during this film. I enjoyed it for what it was. So hey, I'm going to say that Karate Kid Part 3 somehow, some way did not suck, did not disappoint. It's actually pretty decent. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen the Karate Kid Part 3. What do you think of it? Do you like it as well? Are you shocked? Are you surprised that so far there has not been a bad one? I know 4 exists. I know that's coming. And the remake, but before we get there, let's appreciate what we have right now, people. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!